toute façon, anyway, so I believe it's going to be, there's a little delay, but we should be live in a few seconds now. Here we come. Cool. So for anybody listening, thank you for attending. We have started streaming. We are still waiting a little for a few more people to join, and in a few minutes, we will start the public OSS demo number 3. All right, I believe we can begin. So welcome for everybody in the Jitsi room, and welcome for everybody who is watching the YouTube stream. This is PrestaShop project public demo number 3 for March. I think you start to know the drill, but this is an event we try to host every month, and it's about demonstrating what has been done in the PrestaShop project this last month. So we want to have a session for each month. I've got some slides that should help me present the topics. Today's agenda, we are right now doing the introduction. Then I will remind everybody about the event rules. Well, if you have already watched the sessions number 1 and 2, you already know them, but it's important to remind them for everybody. Then there's announcements, and then we have 2 demos. I will be demonstrating the feature flag feature that is coming in PrestaShop 1.7.8, and Hibatada will be demonstrating the work she has been doing on the backlog cleaning. Finally, we will have questions and answers sessions, and I wanted to highlight something because in the previous session, we had a lot of questions about the demonstration content, but actually, this Q&A session can be about anything related to the project. So if you have questions about the project, it can be about the roadmap, it can be about the calendar, it can be about a specific topic. It's the right moment to ask. And when we reach this moment, you don't have to only speak about what we are going to present today. That being said, please allow me to remind you of these event rules. Rule number 1 is please use the chat to ask a question. As mentioned, the stream is a little bit delayed. So if you write something right now into YouTube, we might not see it immediately in Jitsi. So it's all right. It's all right. Don't think we're not listening to you. There's just a little delay between the moment it's being recorded and the moment it's being streamed. Second rule is that this event is about the PrestaShop open source project, not the PrestaShop company. Third rule is that this event is public, obviously, since anybody can watch it now and record it. The record will be stored on YouTube, on our YouTube channel later. So people who could not attend this or cannot attend the full session will be able to watch it later. Finally, this event, just like the PrestaShop project, abide by a code of conduct. You can find the link below. Well, it's quite a regular code of conduct. It's mainly about being polite, being kind, and not harassing anybody. All right, moving on to the announcement. We are very, very, very proud to tell you that yesterday we released PrestaShop 1.7.7.3. So this is a patch release. This one fixes 10 regressions reported on version 1.7.7.0 and 1.7.7.1, and it patches one security issue. So obviously, we advise you to upgrade, make sure that your shop is protected. I believe the security issue was an XSS, and you can find all the details into the release note. Moving on to the next session, which is demonstration. So I will be presenting the first one. And the first demo we have today is about feature flags. So you probably already know about it because it's not something very new. But this is something we only introduced in PrestaShop 4.1.7.8. So the idea is the following. When you release a new feature into a software project, most of the time you just release it and it's available for anybody and it's active. But right now we are considering that some of the features we will release soon into the project might be in an experimental state or might be not fully ready for production. And also we would like to offer the users the possibility to try it, and if they don't like it, to disable it. So in order to achieve that, we are going to introduce in 1.7.8 feature flags. The idea is really simple. The features that are controlled by a feature flag, you can either enable them or disable them from your back office. So it allows you to effectively choose what features you want to demonstrate. This is a theory. Now, please allow me to show you what it looks like in real. I should have a back office around soon, so I'm going to hop. The Scrum tab. So I have here PrestaShop back office 1.7.8. You can see it because the version number is right there. And now in 1.7.8, we're going to introduce a new back office page. You can find it from the navigation bar on the left through advanced parameters, experimental features. And I might be unlocked. Let's see. Oh, no, cool. I'm still logged in. So this is what it will look like in 1.7.8. So you have little text telling you that, well, this is an experimental feature, so you need to be careful about it. And here you will have a series of flags. For this demonstration, I have displayed many different possibilities, but for 1.7.8, only this one will be enabled, and it would be the new product page, because I think you know that we are working on the product page where we aim to deliver a new version of this big and critical piece of PrestaShop in 1.7.9. But in 1.7.8, we wanted to release something that can be tested and tried by the community. But since it's not ready yet, we're going to hide it behind this feature flag. So if you, let's say that in a few months you have 1.7.8, you will be able to navigate to this page. And if you want to see and use the new product page, you will just enable it, save it. You have a little confirmation modal to tell you, are you sure you want to do this? You save it. And now the new product page is being enabled. And I'm not sure it's ready yet, but then if you go to products, not sure yet this will be the right path, but let's say we go there. So we open a product page. And since we have enabled the product page, we can use this little button to visit the reworked product page. And that's all. So that will be all for 1.7.8. However, we think that maybe in the future we will be using this more and more, because this, first, it allows users that dislike a new feature to not use it. And also it allows us to deliver something and gather feedbacks and gather experience about it without impacting shops that do not want about it. So it's really something that we hope will help us in the delivery process and will make it easier to try using the software. And that's all for feature flags. Thank you for this part. So now I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to give the screen sharing to Ibatala, who will be talking about backlog cleaning.
Thanks you. Thank Matt. Well, yeah, let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen? Yeah, perfect. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Today I'm going to present the backlog cleaning, or to be specific, how to treat old issues. Let's go. First, yes?
Wait a little bit. Yeah, that's it. On YouTube, you can see your screen, so you can go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, let's begin with the summary or our demo planning. At first, we're going to see how to organize the epic, then what exactly we need to do when we treat old issues. Of course, these issues need to be reproduced with the latest stable version. And finally, we're going to talk about some states. All right, to organize epic. So the question is, what is an epic? To make it simple, an epic is where we collect all issues with the same subject. Let's take an example, the epic ecotax, and this epic is a good example because we don't have the label ecotax, but we have a lot of issues related to this subject. So instead to make a manual search while looking for an ecotax issue, all you need is go to strip to this epic and find your issues. Now let's see how we organize it. At first, of course, the title of each epic must begin with bracket or parentheses within the word epic uppercased and then a dash. And of course, the title of the epic, which you can example here, the epic responsive in the back office. Second, the labeling, which is an important step. At first, we must add the epic label, and then we have added other labels concerned. For example, in this example, responsive in the back office, we need to add the responsive label, the back office, and of course, because it's about a responsive design, so we need to add the label front end. Third, the body of an epic is the most important part because it contains the issues, and this issue must be classified with the priority, concerned part, or the issue type. Let's take some examples. The first example, the ecotax epic. As you can see in the screenshot, these issues are classified with the concerned page. At first, we have the product page, tax page, order page, and the final part, we have some front office issues. Second example, in this epic, I believe it's a back office product page combination tab. Yes, it is. It's classified with priority. As you can see, we have 10 about issues with must have, then we have should have, and nice to have. The third example, it's classified with issue type. We took an example, the back office position page. As you can see in the screenshot, we have some bugs and some improvement. Now, the issues are organized with this, as you can see, the issues are organized with the same patterns. Let's take an example. The first one, yes, we have a dash, an opened bracket, space, then closed bracket, and the number of issue, a dash, and then the title of issues. So when the issue is closed, we need to replace the space between brackets by X. And of course, for each time I organized epic, I need to treat its issues. So let's see what we need to do exactly and how to treat these issues. Treating old issues. Well, at first you need to check the type of issues. It is a bug or improvement or features. Then the concerned version, and this part is specified for the bug only. For the improvement and feature, we do not specify the concerned version. Then the status, it is need more info or to be specified, to do, work in progress, peer verbal or fixed. And for the issues with to be specified as a status, we need to add along with this label, the label waiting for PM or waiting for dev, unless the issue is assigned to someone of the project team. It can be just to be specified. Then the category, it is about the back office, front office, or test, maybe core or web service or install. And the last part is the concerned page. It is about the order, products, model, and etc. Super simple. So let's take an example. Well, at first, as you can see in this example, there is only 2 labels, so we need to ask if this issue is really an improvement or a feature. When you read the title, you see he asked about optimize the right rules in HTTP, so I believe it is an improvement. For the improvement, we need to specify the affected version, as I mentioned in the previous slide. No, the state is defined as to be specified, but we don't see the waiting for PM or waiting for dev. So let's scroll down and see if there is a comment. Oh, here is it. We have a comment with Matthew for Matthew. That's why we eliminate the waiting for dev label. So in this stage, we have two choices. We can comment asking about the issue state and put waiting for dev label, or asking Matt directly in Slack, and it is to do. We need to add it to an epic. So hello, or just let's ping the core developer. What is the status of this issue? Is it to do, wait, or to be specified? Some design, of course. Yes, good. And here we go. Perfect. Now we can add the waiting for dev. And then let's see what is the category of this issue. As he speak about the hashed access, it means about the core. So we need to add the core level. And as much as I understand the issues, he's talking about like performance. So we need to add the label performance. And here we go. Super easy. Right now, we make a search. I have this beautiful backlog cleaning doc. Make a search. Where is my... And we put treated. It is an open improvement to be specified. And that's it. Super easy. Now, let's get back to our demo. Now, we're talking about reproducing issues. So for each bug with the label to do, we need to reproduce it with the latest stable version. If we reproduce it, add the label, then check the issue description. If it's not organized, do it following the template. We need to check if it is related to an epic or no. If not, we need to add it to the epic. If you can't reproduce it, then close it. It is as fixed, and try to figure out in which version got fixed by testing with minor version or searching some related issue, and add the milestone. Now let's talk about some stats. So as you can see, the total of the issues in our cleaning backlog doc, it's about 1,598, and the cleaning backlog is almost done because it lasts only 275. Yes, I did. Good job. While cleaning the backlog, there is a lot of issue has been closed. We have 124 bugs closed, 37 improvement, and 16 feature closed. It may close it with the fixed or won't fix label, or sometimes no change required. As you can see, the majority of the issue are bugs. So let's talk about it. Let's see this bug status. As I mentioned in the previous slide, we already have 600 open bugs, 21 with PR available, 59 with to be specified, and 11 with to be reproduced. As for to do, the majority with to do, it's about 509 issues. And this issue, I reproduced 159 with the latest stable version, and I still have 350 to be reproduced with the latest stable version, 1.7.7.3. Any question, please?
We can also wait a little on the chat to see those questions because we have the delayed. And okay. I realized I completely forgot to ask for questions as well for my demo. So let's wait a little minute or two, see if some questions pop up in the chat.
Okay.
But anyway, thanks for the demo. Very impressive.
Thank you.
There's a question which is not quite a question, but maybe a comment about the number of open bugs in the project. Some people might think that having hundreds of open issues means that there's a quality problem with the software, and I disagree. I think that most of the issues are actually minor issues that that we keep in the project waiting for somebody to handle them. The important thing is that we, the maintainers, work a lot and mostly on the most important issues, which are the majors and the criticals, and that they handle minor and trivial much less often than the other ones, because minor and trivial issues are issues that are either not that important in terms of the impact on the software itself, or are merely cosmetic, for example, or they maybe they're important but for a very small number of people, because there's a very specific use case that it's not so usual. So I think that the background here is that we are very thorough in keeping a record of everything that doesn't work as expected, but it doesn't mean that the software is not working well in general terms. I mean, perfect software doesn't exist, and I wanted to make this clear.
Thank you.
So we have a few comments in the chat, but it's not questions, just people saying that it was really interesting and that they like the demo. So Ibatala, thank you so much. Okay. Before we move to the Q&A session, I was just notified of another announcement. Like 1 hour ago, there was the release of PS email subscription. Yeah, let's say we're moving to questions and answers. So we can show it live. It's on GitHub. I am on the PS email subscription, and thank you for the people who did the release. There is a new release of module PS email subscription 261, and it fixes many bugs and also an XSS injection. And also about the quantity of demos, we expect that April will be a very big demo because, as you know, we are supposed to have the feature freeze happening in April. April starts tomorrow. And so 1.7.8 should be frozen by the end of April. And that means we will be able to demonstrate a lot of the new things that are currently being finished for 1.7.8. So we expect for April a very big demo. That being said, I will stop sharing my screen so anybody can swear. And now is the time for Q&A. So, stop sharing the screen.
I believe Thomas wanted to say something.
Go ahead, Thomas.
I have a question for Mathieu for the first demo about the feature. How do you call it? I have already forgot.
Feature flag.
Feature flag. It might be a little bit off topic, but when you activated the new product page, the only difference we saw is that there is a new button now to check the new page. Will it be the final behavior, or will the page be completely replaced with the new version when you activate it?
So I believe this we have not decided yet. Actually, I just wanted to show the page with the flags, but what it's going to do for the product page is not completely defined. I believe, Matthews, if you're with me, yes, you're here, that we said it will be better to keep the two pages next to each other.
Yeah. The idea is to keep the merchant to have access to the original page, so the kind of the V1 all the time, and just by a button that might change on the interface of the product page to access to the new one, so he can have a look, see what changed, see if it works with his needs, and yeah. But it's probably the merchant will access to the new page through the product page.
Okay.
If I am.
Can I add a little bit of suggestion?
Yes, of course.
Would it be great to have like a save the last page we used, either the new one or the old one? Save it, so next time you want to edit a product, you will be using the latest the latest page he used before, and if you want to switch, he has the button to go back to the old page or the new.
So you mean like you start to edit product on all the page, so you keep using all page if you open this one, and if you use the new page for product 3, if you reopen product 3 later, again you put back on the new page?
Yeah, but not linked to the product you're trying to edit, just in general. If you starting to use the new product page, you will keep using it until you decide to change.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. We didn't thought about this yet because we for the release of the 178, we're not sure that the page will have the basic feature, so you can use the page as if it was the original one. So to avoid like people to get frustrated on this page and to have to switch back and forth every time, so we just give a new button where they can access to it, and we keep by default the original page, so they don't have any problems or frustration around it. But we need to think about it when we do the feature freeze. The feature freeze is where we don't add any new feature on the software, and when we try to we're going to stabilize the project to do a release, so no new feature will be introduced. So at this time we will see if we can handle this situation or not, depending on how far we went on the product page, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
But I know the suggestion.
So I'm really happy because we've got some questions in the chat, so we'll be able to answer them. So I will start by the top, and the very first one is from Gerdus van Zyl. Hi, I hope that I pronounce your name well. And he's asking there is a new plan with a pull request backlog. I'm not 100% sure to know what this means. My guess would be that you're asking if we're going to go to all pull requests that are there for a long time and treat them from the beginning something. And as far as I know, no, go ahead.
I think it must be it. Yeah, I think you're right, Matthew.
So it's about treating all pull requests?
Yeah, I think so.
For all pull requests, so I think that we already went to the end of the backlog, the very old pull requests, and all the ones that could safely be closed or merged have been done. So what is now staying is pull requests that we know have value, but we don't. So we don't want to close them. And when we have some time, we try to treat them. But there's no like plan to go from the beginning to the backlog to the end. It's just when we have some extra time, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, the idea is that for any given pull request that was submitted by the community, it's blocked for some reason because either we asked for something or the pull request now it's in conflict and needs to be revised. Usually we give people like a month to answer, or else we close the pull request. But there are some of them that we think that even though they are abandoned by the original authors, we consider them to have some value to the project, and we keep them for when we are going to have some time, like Matthew said, so that we take them ourselves and push them through to have them merged.
Maybe you can take time to explain the process of the review, how the maintainers review each PR and why.
I think we have this documented in DevDocs.
That's right.
And a dedicated article on build.prestashop.com.
So
I'm pretty sure about it.
Yep. What I can do is that I will provide the link into the chat for people who are interested in it. How we review requests. Back here we are. Oh, not this one. Process. I will share this. Of course, when you are looking for something, this is where you can't find it anymore. But anyway, I will mark to myself to write it into the chat to provide information for anybody wanting.
We can add it in the video description for people who are going to be watching the replay afterwards.
So I believe we answered the question. So moving on to the next question. A question from Maufri, who is a model developer we see quite often on Slack. Hi, Maufri. Are there some demo tweaks theme to study? So it will be, I believe by theme you mean front office theme, and using Twig. For now, I don't believe so. As far as I know, we have not yet defined the roadmap from PrestaShop 8. So I know one of the candidates for PrestaShop 8.0.0 will be a Twig front office, but it's not active yet, I believe. Pablo, you tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, actually, not even the content for 1.7.9. We haven't yet decided on what we're going to include in 1.7.9. We have a lot of things to do, and we have to pick some things, and it's a really difficult job. So we have a lot of things in store for the next major that we are hoping is going to be the V8, but we cannot ensure that anything in particular is going to be included with those releases. And the thing is that we very much would like to have these projects in the works as fast as possible, but there are a lot of things to do, so we have to choose.
But I think we can say that indeed we want PrestaShop one day to be fully using Twig and not Smart anymore.
Same thing about Symfony. Of course, we would like to make the whole PrestaShop work with unique technique with one framework, and the framework is Symfony, so that no matter if you're in the front office or in the back office, you're always working with the same techniques, with the same components, using CQRS and the things that we already putting into place in the back office. And that includes, of course, Twig.
So moving on to the next question, it's a question for Frank, who is a colleague. Hi, Frank. And it's asking when is the date for the feature freeze? So I believe that the date we have is April 2021, and we don't have a more accurate date to communicate. So basically it starts tomorrow and it has to be done before the end of the month.
That's right. So we don't want to communicate on a specific date for in case we have to push that date forward. We have an internal date, which is an objective and not a hard date. We prefer, and this is something that we have done several times in the past, we prefer to delay the freeze a little bit and to make sure that the version is stable, or at most stable as possible, as much stable as possible. This includes not adding new features after the feature freeze has been put in place. So we prefer moving it a little bit in time later. But we are hoping it's going to be this month in April. And in order to ensure that the release date in the summer is possible.
Moving on to the next question, it's a question for Halwi Mohamed Habib. Hello, because we discussed together on GitHub and Slack, is concerned about when the web service will be reworked, and he's saying that it will be a must-have for PrestaShop, especially for someone using a front stack like React Angular. So I think that first, I'm not sure that the current web service is the best thing you can use for front office, because the current web service kind of back office oriented, and it's about fetching data, and it's not really front office oriented, although indeed you can use it. And we want to rework the web service. That's for sure. It's written in our roadmap. However, just like the front office using Symfony and Twig, this is one big milestone that we know we want to happen in the future, but we have not decided yet when, because there's like 10 of these big milestones that are massive to do. And as Pablo said, we will have to pick one, maybe two, for the next major versions, because we will not be able to do more. So no date for now. It's definitely in the plan. We cannot say that the current web service is satisfying, but it's just a matter of how much resources and when. If anybody wants to add something to my answer.
In my opinion, it's going to be much more easy to rework the web services once we have all the commands and queries in place, because it will make it actually quite easy to create an API, because since you already have all the things that the project can do in terms of commands or mostly about commands, queries are easy to create, easier to create. Once you have all the commands, then you just have to build some controllers that transform JSON into commands, and that's it. It's actually quite easy, but it will be probably different from the web services that we know already. The one that it's already in place, it's mostly a direct link into the object models. And the thing is that we want to get rid of object models, so we cannot. It's a roadblock of sorts for getting rid of object models. So we have to do this rework of web services if we want to get rid of object models. So we are going to do that, and it's probably going to be after we finish creating all the CQRS commands and queries, but mostly the commands.
What about using API platform? Symfony's API platform? Are we able to use it in the future when we get rid of object model and move to doctrine?
I'm not very familiar personally with that library, but the thing about this is that the reading part is quite trivial, because you can just go ask the database for the information. The part that is more complicated is when you're writing, because you have to make sure that all your business rules are enforced. So you have to go through the same pipes as the rest of the software, and that's the value of commands, because they make sure that you're providing all the information that the system needs to do the thing that you are asking the system to do. And since you are not accessing the services directly, you're just creating the command and then sending it to the software, then you can be sure that you're going through those pipes, the information is complete, and it's valid.
Yeah, okay. I think we could learn more about API platform, because it's basically additional layer of GraphQL inside project. So I think it would be super easy for front-end developers to use it in the PrestaShop if we decide to implement it.
It could be interesting to look at it and see how we can, if it's possible to implement that.
Yeah.
And even if we decided not to use API platform, I think if we release a new web service, we will make sure that it meets all the quality standards of today, which is providing an SDK, which is following REST or GraphQL. So, which are things that API platforms make very easy. But even if we decided not to use it, we will try to be as quality as possible. However, I would say for API platform, we have to check also their release life cycle and their plans for the future. Because the more of these tools we add in the software, the more dependent we are of whatever direction the tools take in the future. So we have to be quite sure, because I believe it's something that would stay in the software for long, that this is a viable and reliable tool. I believe so, but just check to be sure. And also the license.
I wanted to clarify, sorry, Christian. I wanted to clarify something because people are confusing web services with the front API. So web services is meant to synchronize PrestaShop with your ERP or other software. And it's not meant to create applications which are user client experiences, therefore merchants or for system management. Because you don't have this, you can't handle login with web services, for example. And you have a single client key that you have to generate using the back office to access. So for me, there are two different APIs. The one that exists already, which is the web services, and we have to rebuild it because it's tied to object model, and it has its difficulties. And then there's the front office API, which is meant to build storefront experiences. And this API doesn't exist yet, and we could create it anytime. We just need the resources to do it, and we have a lot of work before us. But there are two different APIs. Maybe one will be GraphQL and the other will be RESTful, or both. We don't know yet.
So I believe that we fully went through the whole topic. Moving on to next question. So I see one mention from Daniel that I salute. Hi, Daniel. But I believe it was not a question or a comment. Next question would be from Jean-François Viguier. Hi, Jean-François. When PrestaShop 8 development will be started? And I think I can safely answer this one. We don't know yet. For now, I believe the only plan we have is after 1.7.9. I don't think we plan for 1.7.10, but this could change, right? Because it's so late in the future that we can't predict it. So I would say at least not before the end of this year, and maybe 2022.
The thing is that we have to decide on what we are expecting for 1.7 to be. So we know where you want to go in the long run, and there are many major versions until we get there, but we aren't quite sure when to stop with 1.7. We used to say we're going to stop with 1.7 once we get the whole of the back office migrated to Symfony, and we know that it's not a realistic. We now know that it's not realistic to set that as a goal, or else we're going to be working on that for 4 more years, at least, based on the current evidence. We don't want that. So we said that we are going to stop when we end up migrating the most important parts. Which are those? We don't know for sure yet. Myself, I would like to stop with 1.7 once we get 1.7.9 out, but it will depend on the scope that we decide and the time we have to develop it. So one possibility is that 1.7.9 will be finished by the end of this year. So next year we're going to be finally able to start working on the next major. but it's not impossible to have another minor version after 1.7.9. In that case, it's looking more like starting to work on that on the second half of 2022, but not before, that's for sure.
But
There's also a PHP 8 topic related to 1.7.9, and from what I know, it would be tough to make PrestaShop not PrestaShop, but to handle all dependencies used in PrestaShop. And I think having PrestaShop compatible with PHP 8 would be a good choice for the project, because we basically make this software at least more years thanks to it.
I fully agree with you, Christian. The thing is that I mean, it's how could I say? We have already decided that we are going to make PrestaShop compatible with PHP 8. That's for sure. The question is when, and we know that the when is soon, and so we know that we want to do that. On the other hand, we would like to make the next minor version 1.7.9 backwards compatible. And so we have these two opposing forces, and we have to pick one. Either we continue to follow the trend of the PHP platform, or we continue ensuring that minor versions are at most retrocompatible as we can. And we cannot do both. We cannot do one and let the other one out. So we are picking like a path in between, which is less than ideal. I'm sure that you agree. So it's probable that we're going to do this in 1.7.9. It's actually quite certain that we're going to do that, even though it's not respecting Semver to the letter. We think that it's important, but we cannot start working on the major just yet. So we're going to go in between. So 1.7.9 is probably going to be a semi-major version in that respect. But we're going to do that. Are we going to also update Symfony?
Yes, because we need to support, we need to use a supported Symfony version. So since Symfony 3, sorry for my French, is ending soon, we need to upgrade to Symfony 4 indeed.
That's right.
I just wanted to highlight something else, which is for us maintainers working on PrestaShop 8, which will be the next major, is probably the most exciting thing that we could do. So obviously, if we could choose, we would like to start it immediately now, but we cannot just end the PrestaShop 1.7 like this. There's so many people using it now. So it's all this transition between 1.7, finishing the job, making sure it's clean, also working on the migration path from 1.7 to 8. So yeah, we really are waiting for this moment where we finally start working on PrestaShop 8, but we have to be careful and very slow with it.
I've been waiting for 4 years myself, so I fully agree with you, Mathieu. This is something that I've been waiting to do for a very long time.
And when PrestaShop 8, we are going to say, I cannot wait for PrestaShop 9, and so far, and so far, and so far. And for PrestaShop 10, we can say it's PrestaShop X, right? Oh, sorry, off topic. Moving on to the next question. So I see that it's great we have these questions. We are really, really happy to host this Q&A session. However, I think around 3 p.m. we will have to stop, but either remaining questions after this, we can always discuss it in Slack. Just as some time we will have to move on. And I think some people have some assignments after this. So I'm now scrolling again into YouTube. Next question will be from Pululu, with another maintainer of PrestaShop. Hi, Pululu. Do you either plan to use a single public folder to expose only assets as on Symfony, for example? Yes, totally. I think this is one of our very important milestones for PrestaShop. At some point, we want to just follow the standard web folder where you have this public folder exposed to the web and everything else is protected against. However, the day we do this, it's a major changes of folders. We are going to move a lot of things around. So I guess, Pablo, it will not be before PrestaShop 8 at least. It will be like major BC break, moving folders and classes for everybody using them.
Yeah, I think that it's clearly one of the first things that we're going to do in PrestaShop 8, because it not only, I mean, I don't think that it's such a breaking change by itself. The thing is that we're not going to be able to continue supporting the same install process if the code lives outside the visible part of the website. So it's not going to be the same install process that people were used to, like uploading your zip file through FTP and then just double clicking and it's on its way. And it's going to be much harder. I mean, not much harder, but it's you're going to do some work probably on CLI to have it working.
So can we dream of one day typing in the command line, composer create PrestaShop, and hop, you get a new, brand new PrestaShop version?
Well, using composer compatible naming scheme for the versions, that will go a long way to let people just use composer, require PrestaShop/PrestaShop, and then you're done. Just saying.
It would be tough, to be honest. I think PrestaShop is not ready for it just yet.
Can be a long-term project.
Maybe not PrestaShop itself, but we need to remember that PrestaShop has a lot of users treating PrestaShop as as easiest open source e-commerce on the market, and easiest and the best, of course. But ease of use is important for them, for merchants.
Yeah, but I believe even if we were able to create new PrestaShop projects using Composer, we can still have the zip downloadable archive available. We don't have to exclude one way. It's just a dream of Composer developer. But anyway, it was off topic. You're right. Someone wants to say something?
I was going to start a debate, but
I believe we have another comment. It's from Maufree. Remember also to fix microdata problems.
I think I saw a pull request. About
Yes,
microdata, it's fixed for now until Google changes again.
We moved from microdata inside HTML to JSON LD. So yeah, I think it should be available in 1.7.8.
Until Google changes again.
Oh, there are new questions. Where are you with the statistics modules? Do we tell them?
We missed a question from Pulu, but we can come back to it. So go ahead. Where are you with the statistics modules? I believe it's like all the different statistics modules that gather data and are displayed in the back of this page.
Yeah, let me just answer this myself. So there are no current plans to work on the statistics modules, but we plan on merging them together into one that does the statistics and the other one that is going to display them in the dashboard. But there's some crossing surface with metrics. So we are exploring what we can do to make the project better without just dropping the statistics altogether. So we don't have current plans to improve the existing modules, but there will be some merging. I think that there are other questions.
Yes, there's one we missed before. It was from Pulud again. Who was asking, he was saying that today deploys several instances of one PrestaShop as a service, but is having issues being able to monitor the state of these instances. I think it was an issue we had some time ago, but then the need faded away, so it didn't go through. So it was kind of, as Frank mentioned, a way to ping an instance of PrestaShop and saying, "Hey, are you doing well?" A health check to be kind of a health check API could do the job, for example. So there was this need, but I don't think anything like this is implemented now. So you said, what do you suggest? Right now, we are nothing the core, but Piluli, I will send you later. I believe we started something, but it was just a work in progress. I will provide you later the issue and the pull request. I'm not sure it's going to fit very well your need, but it can help you go the right path.
Yeah, the health check part was, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the maintainer's first tasks, but we set it aside because since we stopped providing a SaaS version of PrestaShop, we didn't have any use for that, and we just decided not to continue working on that.
So I think we have one last question. Now I think I understood it was a question started by Daniel. He was saying that, well, if we plan one day to add a new front office using Twig, we should not discard the old front office, which is powered by Smarty, because people still half of people, sorry for my English, half of PrestaShop stores are still running on the default templates. For PrestaShop 8, well, since it would be a new major version, we could expect people to upgrade, but that would be, for example, one use case where we could use feature flags, being able to enable the new front office or keep using the old ones, for example.
I disagree with that view. Actually, I think that feature flags exist only for to be able to deliver features that are not ready yet. But once they are ready, we should keep only one version of that same feature to avoid having several ways to do the same thing, which adds complexity. And so adding complexity is the opposite of what we want to do right now.
And I think we need to remember that having Twig means that people will need to know more about programming. The entry level would be higher than today, and we need to move forward. We know that some modules and templates won't be compatible anymore, but if we want to have better software, we need to move forward, and we need to make PrestaShop not backward compatible at all costs.
Yeah, I agree. There's some trade-offs on moving forward. That's for sure. But even though to me that those are two different subjects that you just evoked. The first one is the entry level, and I don't think that Twig is more difficult than Smarty. They're just different, but not more difficult. And actually, the syntaxes are pretty much similar to me. The problem is going to be on the other side with CQRS, Symfony, forms, and so on. But I mean, some people will stop being interested by PrestaShop, that's for sure, but new people are going to be attracted by the new stuff. And we already see that. We've been seeing that for the last 2 years, I think. The other thing is about retrocompatibility, and that's quite a difficult subject. Of course, we're not going to stop everything in front of the altar of backwards compatibility. So we're keeping that in mind, but we are also moving forward. And one of the reasons of wanting to start working on PrestaShop 8 is to be able to move things forward. The things that we are not allowing ourselves to do in 1.7 because it's we're just releasing minor versions. Working on a major allows us to add all these things that are not backwards compatible in a programmed way, in an expectable way. And in my view, once we start on the good basis, so we build a good foundation of what is a major version, what is a minor version, and stop issuing 10 minor versions for years, it's going to be much more easy to move forward. Because if we say, okay, once a year we're going to be breaking things, you can expect some things to be broken on major version. I mean, broken, not working the same way as before, but working well. And minor versions, they only add new functionality. They don't change anything about what was working before. And so people can project. They can say, okay, I'm working on some store using this major version. I know that we're going to be able to upgrade to the next minor version, and everything will continue to work. And when the next major is out, we're going to see if we can adapt or whatever. But they won't have to ask themselves, oh, there is this new minor version out. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make our workshop work with it. We're just going to try and see, and maybe everything will explode. I wouldn't want people to continue banging their heads about that.
Okay, so I think I have a good news, which is we both answered all the questions and we reached 3 p.m. So it's the right moment to stop. Well, if you have some questions that pop in your mind right now, don't worry, we are still available in Slack. We'll put back the link into the video description and the comments just after that. So before telling you goodbye, I just wanted to say thank you so much for everybody who attended this into the Jitsi room and into the YouTube channel, because, well, today was exactly what we wanted to happen when we created this moment of discussion and exchange between the community and the maintainers, discussing about the complex topics and heavy topics. This is exactly what we hoped we could achieve. We hope you liked it like we liked it, and we really, really look forward next session to be just like this. It's really great. So thank you, everybody. Have a nice day and see you next month.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.